Breeders' Cup 2025. We're within inside 2 weeks of the big day. We're getting closer to the Breeders' Cup Classic. That's our update. We're going to stay in focus. A lot of workouts over the weekend. The field starting to clear up and focus in. Of course, it's going to be going 10 furlongs on that Saturday, November the 1st of Breeders' Cup. 1.25 miles. 3-year-olds taking on older horses. That'll be the big story this year. Of course, for the 3-year-old division, we've got Sovereignty, the Kentucky Derby winner. We've got Journalism, the Preakness winner. Baeza, the Pennsylvania Derby winner. And recent winner of the Goodwood Stakes, Nevada Beach. Those are the major 3-year-olds. And then for the 4 and up, the returners, we've got Mindframe, a big multiple stakes winner. Sierra Leone, the Breeders' Cup Classic winner last year as a 3-year-old. Now we've got Fierceness, who ran second last year. Forever Young from Japan, and Lock, the winner of the Santa Anita Handicap. Could have a couple of other horses, as many as 12 horses still considering the Breeders' Cup Classic, and the odds are starting to come out. Las Vegas offering these odds right now. Sovereignty at 8-5, Sierra Leone 5-1, Fierceness 6-1, Journalism and Baeza 9 and 10-1, and Forever Young 11-1. Now those are fixed in. You must be in Vegas to do that at Caesars. Meanwhile, the national and worldwide bookkeepers are coming out. You've got Sovereignty at right around 7-5, 8-5, Sierra Leone at 5.5-1, Fierceness at 6-7-1, and Journalism all the way up to 12-1, Baeza up to 16-1 in some of the worldwide pools. So those are some of the odds. Basically, you're going to have Sovereignty as the clear-cut favorite, and then you're going to have Fierceness, Sierra Leone, and then Journalism and Baeza kind of vying out for those next placements. Antiquarian, Locked, and Nevada Beach kind of seem like the long shots at this point in the field. But workouts over the weekend, we had Sovereignty working out on October the 11th, worked in the fog that day. That was a good workout. He came back this weekend with another workout. Now Sovereignty, with his major workouts, took a little bit of a break after the Travers. He had a work on October the 5th. That was 5 furlongs. And a workout on October 12th. That was another one at 5 furlongs. Continues to get fit and focused in for that Breeders' Cup for Godolphin Blue and trainer Bill Mott. Of course, Sovereignty, his last race is the Travers. Now, he'll be coming into the Breeders' Cup off a 70-day layoff. He's by Into Mischief. And, of course, Sovereignty had a little bit of a layoff over the winter and won the Fountain of Youth off that layoff. So it is possible. We'll see what Sovereignty does in the Breeders' Cup Classic. A 70-day layoff, and continues to work forwardly for that race. Now, Japan, they've had a couple of Breeders' Cup winners in 2021 that were Japan-bred. March Lorraine in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. We had Love's Only You on the turf, and also Turf Mile. And then Forever Young last year ran third in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Of course, he had his last prep in the Nippon TV High Stakes. That was just a couple of weeks ago. It was his first race since the Dubai World Cup, and that one he was the heavy favorite and did not win. Forever Young, going to be getting fit, going to be arriving to Santa Anita, Del Mar next week. So Forever Young trying to become the third Japan-bred to win a Breeders' Cup race. Of course, he was third in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year for Mr. Yahagi, the trainer. Now, Locked, a lot of people liked him in the Woodward Stakes. He came from off the pace, ran down Phileas Fogg late. Now, Locked, of course, last year won the Cigar Mile. He's had some other big efforts. For a while, it looked like he might be a late-running closer or a miler, but remember, he did win the Santa Anita Handicap. Now, that was only a $300,000 purse this year. Field wasn't pretty much that grade 1 quality, but Locked is showing on his best day, and I like the fact that he comes in off a win. Trainer Todd Pletcher could have as many as 4 horses. Locked is going to be one of the true long shots in the race, probably about 20-1 in the Classic. Now, Locked overall, 6 wins, 11 starts, almost $2 million in earnings. He won the Woodwin in his last start, ran second to White Abarrio at Gulfstream Park at 1 1/8 miles. He won the Cigar Mile last year. Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he was third, and he did win the Keeneland Breeders' Futurity as a 2-year-old. He brings some good depth. He's by Gun Runner for trainer Todd Pletcher. Now, Baeza put it all together, got a fast pace to run into in the Pennsylvania Derby. Let's go back to that race. Of course, kind of a fast pace on the front end. Now, Baeza had lost to Sovereignty a couple of times and didn't have to face Sovereignty in the Pennsylvania Derby. He won that race, good speed figure, and Baeza went right back out to the West Coast. He'll be running, won't have to ship for the first time in quite a while to run out of Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now, Nevada Beach, he's another 3-year-old, a big race in the Goodwood Stakes. Bob Baffert trains, dueled with Full Serrano, who won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile last year, so he's a quality horse. Had won his prep race, Full Serrano did. Nevada Beach put him away. Now, Full Serrano going to run in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Out of that 1.125 mile race, Nevada Beach going to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic and take on some of the other 3-year-olds and the older horses. Now, Del Mar experience, we do have some horses with Del Mar experience and good Del Mar form. Sometimes that can be a horse for course type track. We've got Fierceness, second in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year. He won the Pacific Classic in his last start at Del Mar. Sierra Leone was first in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He returns. Journalism, first in a maiden race and then second to Fierceness in the Pacific Classic at 1.25 miles. He's got some Del Mar experience. Forever Young, third in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and Highland Falls, ninth in the Breeders' Cup Classic if he elects to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic this year. Now, never raced at Del Mar, we've got Baeza, Locked, Antiquarian, Mindframe, Nevada Beach, and then we've got Sovereignty and Phileas Fogg. Those are the horses that have never raced at Del Mar. So could be interesting, maybe some horse for course angles with Fierceness, Sierra Leone, and some of the others. Now, Fierceness and Antiquarian worked on Friday. Fierceness on the inside, Antiquarian on the outside. Fierceness got, he always is a good workhorse, put in a good work that day. Of course, they worked in company. Antiquarian, of course, the last time out, won that Jockey Club Stakes. And the Pacific Classic, here's Fierceness. He ducked in at the start, but he did get the jump on Journalism. Journalism was back of the pack, made a move up to Fierceness, but Fierceness held sway. That was a big win for Fierceness at that 1.25 mile distance. Of course, last year he won the Travers at 1.25 miles and ran second in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Did not fire in the Kentucky Derby. Now, Journalism, he worked Friday, 5 furlongs in company, 59-1. Good workout for Journalism. Journalism, again, second to Fierceness in the Pacific Classic, second to Sovereignty in the Kentucky Derby, won the Preakness Stakes. 1.25 miles, that's going to be the big question, but the plot did thicken when, of course, Journalism won the Santa Anita Derby earlier this year, had some multiple wins at 1.125 miles. He won the Haskell Stakes. He came a little bit off the pace that day, ran them down late. Journalism, the plot thickens. On Friday, they announced Umberto Rispoli will be off, and Jose Ortiz is going to ride Journalism for the first time in the Classic. That's a major jockey change. Is it a positive, negative? Umberto Rispoli was used to Journalism. Journalism got a little bit further back, I think, than they liked in that Pacific Classic. Kind of handed the race to Fierceness just with the running style and the way he was positioned in that race. But Journalism doesn't like, he likes to be forwardly placed and with the field, but he's not really a front runner, whereas Fierceness is a little bit more on the engine. So that'll be interesting. Jose Ortiz to ride Journalism. Now, Sierra Leone, Breeders' Cup Classic 2024. He had a workout over the weekend for trainer Chad Brown. Of course, the sire is Gun Runner. Sierra Leone, he needs a fast pace. He lost to Fierceness in the Travers last year and kind of turned the tables on him with a faster pace in that Breeders' Cup Classic. Now, when you look at last year in the Classic, look at those raw fractions: 44.4, 109.2, 135, 2 3/5. Now, Fierceness was near the pace on that. It was a fast pace that day with the Japan runner going out there. This year, I don't know if we have that type of raw speed on the front end. So the pace ratings were fast last year at the 4 furlongs, plus 14. The 6 furlongs was a plus 12. I don't think we're going to have that fast of a pace this year, and the raw times may not be as fast as well. So the field lining up for the Breeders' Cup Classic: Forever Young, Sovereignty, Fierceness, Journalism, the 3-year-olds against the 4-year-olds, and then we've got Mindframe, Antiquarian, Locked, Highland Falls still possible, and Sovereignty, the most likely favorite. Sovereignty with the top buyers on the year, but it's overall the top 6-7 horses are all within a couple of lengths at 1.25 miles, so it should be a good race depending on post position and final workouts. We're going to have more Breeders' Cup updates. We've already got an update on a lot of the races: the sprint, the dirt mile, the distaff. We'll do another one of those. And then, of course, post positions will be drawn on October 27th, Breeders' Cup October 31st, and November 1st. The Classic, who do you like? Remember, like, share, and subscribe with a horse racing friend. And remember, D. Wayne Lucas always said, people have opinions, horses have the facts.